Seek first his kingdom, and everything else shall be added unto you. That's my most favorite verse of God, Matthew chapter 6, verse 33. It has touched me a lot. A lot of my life has been revolved around that entire verse. Uh, I always had a lot of doubts. I had a lot of confusions about what God has planned for me. Uh, at certain points of my life, I was so desperate. I felt like so heartbroken that I was totally unclear, uncertain about what the life is going to be, and I was literally tired. God has his mysterious ways. Jesus has his mysterious ways. I still can remember back in my primary. I was just another kid, who passed. I still remember my eighth standard. I passed my eighth standard. I didn't literally pass. I failed in 2 3 subjects. So I was just another common boy like that, quite weak in my studies. And I still remember an instance where my mother uh, was sitting near me, and we were in a annual day function of my school. That's the day when everybody goes to the stage and get all their prizes. I still remember my mother asking me, sitting next to me, Eda, when will you have this? She spoke to me in Malayalam. Eda, when will you ever have this? Will I ever see you get anything, something like this? That literally, got into me. That's my, that's something I need inner healing for. So that was there in my life for a whole long time. But time passed. That was back in very primary standard, and it's on. I'm very weak in my studies. Uh, but by the grace of God, certain point of time, uh, my parents, they were so lovely. They were very. I mean, they were strong Catholics. They go to church every day, and I've literally, grown up in a family environment where they were very supportive and they were very prayerful and spiritual. So that got into me. In time, I don't know, just at some point of time in my primary, in my secondary, towards my ninth standard, I met God, and that too in a very strange way. That was just my initial experience. I met God in a very strange way. Just before one of my exams, I never used to go to the mass and all before my exams. It's just the Sunday mass, that too, since my parents are like pushing me towards it. You don't have an option, right? What can you do on Sundays? You have to go to mass, so that's the only option we have. So, but for some reason, before my exams, my termly exams of my ninth standard, my first termly exams, I went to church. And that was, and suddenly after after the Eucharist, after I received a communion, uh, I had this uh, prayer inside me that. And I had tears flowing from my eyes. Nobody saw it. Still my parents don't know about that. So, uh, like, I had a prayer inside me, like, God, I don't know what you have kept it for me. Why am I still struggling for this? Why can't I make my ends meet? Yeah, all the parents are talking about their students kids doing that, doing this. I am not able to do anything. Uh, to my surprise, the day the exam results came, and my mother was like, "What is this? Your paper?" I scored like 96, 93 in all my papers, science, maths. My God, my family was so awestruck because that never happens for me. That was something. That was my first experience with God. That was like the first experience. Like, okay, somebody exists like that. But then it happened. Uh, then teenage happened. Uh, all that experience just washed away. It was like, okay, somewhere over there, but I was into a lot of addictions. Nobody knew that, and life just went by. Uh, but it was later, and again through such a providence, I got admission in one of the colleges in Kerala called TKM College. they had a very strong JV presence, but predominantly it was it was a Muslim dominated college, so nobody expects Jesus Youth to be there. But I never knew that there's going to be movement, and I never knew Jesus Youth also. So I went to so by some God's grace, I got admitted there. That again, it's a big surprise. I got admitted there, and started studying, and I'm with Jesus Youth people. That's where God really showed Himself to me. Hmm. That was a beautiful period, beautiful time. Like the 4 years, the God molded me. Christ really molded me through the 4 years, through the people I met, through the experiences I've had. I was literally a very selfish person, always thinking about what I can have, what do I get from people, what do I get from this project, what do I get from meeting this guy, what do I get from going through there. But this was a whole new platform for me. This was like people were they were so selfless. They had given their time. Many full timers, they had given their life, like 1 year of their life, to at a very prime time. It was very, very exciting. It was very something very new for me. This really changed my life. I started to seek more, you know started going for the prayer meetings, went to a few retreats. I still remember one of the first retreats, Proficus, which I had, the youth retreats. That was a real life-changing experience where I got the grace to say rosary. That was really, really, really touched. That really touched my life. And hence and so forth. Like the Lord, He made a lot of unimaginable surprises for me. The very nature where I am very selfish, the very nature where I am, I used to, always think about my self-centered lifestyle, and always thinking about how I can get something from out of somebody. God used that same thing to experience Him. At some point of time, I said yes to a particular commitment that the movement had asked. My parents were so against it because they were like, okay, it's a time to study. You have to go and study right now. You don't waste time for this. We have our programs coming up right before the semester exams, and my parents wouldn't allow that. Oh my God, they were like so against it. I still made my way through all of that. It was really exciting. At the end of 4 years, my batch was the only chemical engineering college in the University of Kerala. Somehow, at the end of 4 years, I got, all my semester marks of all the 7 semesters before, it was fine. It was not bad. Okay, I never got any supplementary papers. No. It was not bad, but not so great at all. But at the end of the 8th semester, out of nowhere, I got like very huge grade points. Because since we have a lot of credits at the end of the year due to the projects and stuff, that really gave me a great push, and I ended up being Kerala University second rank. Oh my God, my parents were like so high. They were like happy. That's when I realized, like, the time when you spend, the time that you give for the Lord, seek first His kingdom, and everything else shall be added on to you. Everything else falls in place. Everything else, my entire, my selfish nature of what I get from what I get time from this, God used that in a very strange way. He was literally speaking to me that give your time to me, give your readiness to me, and He really used that in very strange and beautiful ways. So from the boy who didn't even pass my 8th standard, I ended up being the university second rank holder in University of Kerala. And further, I got a very good job by God's grace at a time when chemical engineers were finding it really hard to get a job. And now I'm able to get a good college. I'm doing my master's currently in like one of the world's best institutions. That's again a God's grace. So God makes impossible things work for us. Totally impossible, totally phenomenal things just for you, tailored uniquely for each of us, if we just believe in the grace of God. That was the great experience I have. The Lord has really touched me at a certain point of life, especially through all my times of darkness, through all the times where I had a lot of pain, doubtfulness, uncertainties. He really uh, changed the circumstances around me. The little faith I had at the time when I said thanks in all the troubles I've had, He really changed me. He really changed who I was and my outlook towards the world, outlook towards how I see people, how I do things. The Lord has really taken me up. So all that I have in my life, it's all that I have ever done, all that I have ever got, is a big providence and a grace from the Lord. I really urge all of us. Let's all uh, join our hands in prayer and seek the Lord's providence to touch us each day, because it's not a very old uh, experience that we have that often keeps us an experience back in time, but it didn't. The Lord makes a very new experience each day for me, because He knows that I am not very good. He knows that Nitin is not a good guy. He has to kept in the line, so He makes us tailored, unique experiences for me, mold my life. That's really great. Awesome. Praise God.